Hi, my name is Andrea Buckley, and I am a licensed mental health therapist in the state of Michigan. And welcome to the Connection Diaries. I am so glad that you are here. We are in episode 2 of my Courage Community Q&A. All November long, I'm answering real questions from the folks that I get to work with on a daily basis, the community that I get to exist in on a daily basis. And so if you have any questions, please send me an email, put them in the comments of this video, or you can connect with me on social media and I will put all of that information below. But let's jump into episode number 2. And I'm really excited because I actually got some really juicy questions and it's actually going to take some time to go through them and I don't want to rush. So if you haven't watched episode number 1, please go back and do so and then come back and watch episode number 2. And I want you to keep the questions coming because no question is a dumb question. And the question that you may have, somebody else may also have. And the question that you think that you don't have, you may actually need to have. So feel free to join and just tune in and just join me in conversation. So let's jump in to this question. So one question I got is, how do you repair unhealthy relationship? So I really want to take this question and expand it a little bit more. So we're going to talk about how do you repair unhealthy relationship with yourself. We're going to talk about how do you repair unhealthy relationship with others. So that could be platonically, that can be romantically, that can be with family, that can be even your relationship to a colleague at work. I want you to just take the principles that I'm going to present in this video today and apply it where it may benefit you. Okay? Or where it may benefit your friend or someone else that you love that you can share this video with. So before we even jump into the question, one thing you'll learn about me is I'm really big on definitions. I love words. I'm a writer. I love to make sure that the words that I'm saying are also being defined or interpreted in the same way that you would define and interpret them. We have to make sure we're on the same page, right? Otherwise, we will be having a conversation and might not necessarily reach the same conclusion, or we may, misunderstand each other. So let me jump into some definitions. I want to define what the word repair means. For me, in this context, the word repair means to address past harm, to address past misunderstandings, and to address unmet needs. And so that's what we're going to talk about a lot in this video, unmet needs. Typically, this is the source of unhealthy relationship, and it's the source of conflict in the context of relationship. So in order to repair it, we must address the unmet need. You cannot repair a relationship without addressing the harm that has been done, the misunderstandings, and addressing that there are needs that are gone unmet in this dynamic. The next word that I want to define for us is healthy versus unhealthy. What does that even mean? All of us have different definitions of what it means to be in a healthy relationship. And that is because we all have different backgrounds, different childhoods, different values, different beliefs. And so when you are working with someone, you want to know what is their definition of healthy. And so for me, when I think about a healthy relationship, I think about a relationship that meets my needs, a relationship that allows me to even be needy, in a relationship that does not do harm, that does not hurt me, that allows me to be not only physically safe, but emotionally safe, spiritually safe, safety across the board. So those are the definitions that we're working with. We're working with repairing an unhealthy relationship, and we're moving towards what is a healthy relationship. A healthy relationship, again, has to do with our needs being met. So let's jump in. Sometimes when I hear this question, how do I repair an unhealthy relationship? I also think about the question of how to change my partner or my friend or my family member. And I'll just give you a secret right away. You can't. You cannot control another person. And the part of you that wants to control another person typically is a younger part of you. And it's a part that is used to their needs being unmet. So if you grew up in an environment where maybe your physical needs were not met, or your emotional needs were not met, or your spiritual needs were not met, you may grow up into an adult who not only is used to their needs not being met, but then tries to change people into or convince them to see you as someone who's worthy of your needs being met versus pivoting or seeking out relationships where your needs are naturally met. You may develop a comfort with your needs not being met. And so I want to start this video naming that this isn't a video about how to change the other person. It's more so in a video about how to recognize when a situation is not meeting your needs and how to move accordingly so that you can either have a healthy relationship in the current dynamic or so that you can leave that dynamic and pursue healthy relationship elsewhere. So I just want to set the tone with that. So in order to have a healthy relationship, both parties have to take responsibility for their role. I take responsibility for my role and you take responsibility for yours. I control what I can and you control what you can. So there has to be accountability. If you are in a relationship where there's no accountability, the person never apologizes, the person can never see fault in their actions, that could be a sign of an unhealthy relationship. And if you're in a relationship where they always apologize, but you see no change behavior, also hinting towards a lack of accountability, that also can be a sign of an unhealthy relationship. So, in order to have a healthy relationship, the first thing is to take accountability. The second thing is to set boundaries. How do we set boundaries? We set boundaries by first identifying and radically owning what our needs are. So, for example, if I'm a person who loves quality time, I'm not going to hide that. I'm going to wear it as a badge of honor and I'm going to say, I need quality time. Thus, I must also be in relationship with a person who either also enjoys quality time or is willing to engage with me with quality time. I can't control what they do, but I can control what I do. And what I do on my end is I express the need, hey, like I really enjoy quality time. I would love to spend more quality time with you. I wait for that person to respond. I watch their behavior. And based off how they respond in the way in which they behave, I decide that this relationship is meeting my needs or I decide that it's not. So again, this isn't a question about how do I control that person or manipulate that person or get that person to now be what I need. It's more a conversation about how do I pivot when my needs are not being met, because that's the part that I can control. And also, how do I reassure the younger version of me that wants to try to change this person or manipulate this person to do something that they are not willing to do or they have shown me that they're not willing to do? So the third thing I want you to think about is in order to have a healthy relationship, you have to have trust. And trust comes literally from small, consistent actions. Trust just comes from doing what you say you're going to do. And I get it, like we all make mistakes. We're going to miss the mark sometimes. But largely speaking, trust is only established because I know that you have my back. I know that when you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. And if that is not the case, then there's no foundation for trust and there's no foundation for a healthy relationship. And so if I lost someone's trust, the only way that I am able to rebuild that trust is by consistently showing up and showing them changed behavior. Not showing them change behavior for a couple of weeks or a couple of days and then going back to the same behavior. That's going to just create mistrust. The only way you rebuild trust is by saying, I am going to do this thing over and over consistently to show you that I got your back. Trust also requires forgiveness, which that's a whole nother conversation we'll talk about later. But apply that where you may. The last thing I want to talk about when I think about a healthy relationship is communication. You need open and radically honest communication. If I cannot be myself around you, if I feel like I have to mask, if I feel like if I say how I feel, you're going to, not validate me or kind of put me down, then that is a characteristic for an unhealthy relationship. The only way that we repair that is by moving towards a level of communication where I feel safe, where I can be vulnerable, where I can be expressive, and there's mutual respect. If those ingredients are not there, you naturally will not have a healthy relationship. So that's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. We have accountability, we have the ability to set boundaries, we have trust, and we have communication. I want to also give us a bonus point. If you find yourself in a situation where you're like, but I just want to change this person, I just wish that they would do what I need them to do. Like, why don't they do it? You may want to think about how your unwillingness to accept this person for who they are may be rooted in a desire for security, a need to feel validated yourself, or your desire to avoid an uncomfortable emotion. And that uncomfortable emotion oftentimes is grief. Instead of accepting that this person cannot give me what I need and grieving what I thought would be, I'm going to hold on to it and try to change it and manipulate it and shift it because I don't want to deal with the grief. And so a lot of times my desire to change other people may also reflect my own emotional unavailability. And so the only way that I move past that is also giving myself kind of like a little check, and saying like, okay, where in my life am I emotionally unavailable? Why have I become used to a person not meeting my needs? Why do I feel comfortable there? Why don't I not think I'm worthy of my needs being met? How am I looking at my life through a lens of scarcity? Those are questions that I want you to think about if you find yourself hearing these characteristics of what a healthy relationship is, and your first gut instinct is to say, how can I change this person? And you may say that consciously or subconsciously, which is another conversation. A lot of times we're trying to make a person fit an image that we have in our head in order to feel this false sense of safety or predictability. Sometimes it's easier to hold on to what feels safe and normal and routine, even though it's unhealthy, than to like break that pattern and move towards what is healthy. So I'll leave you with this. In order to have healthy relationships with others, you have to have a healthy relationship with yourself. In order for me to express what it is that I need and own that and walk away when my needs are not being met, I have to own for myself that my needs are valuable, that they're important, and I have to be the custodian in that regard and say like nothing's going to come between me and what it is that I need. That I'm not being too much, that I'm not being too sensitive, that I'm not, bad or being too needy. I'm owning these things as like these are crucial parts of what I need to move forward and to survive. And when I do that and I start to be accountable to my own self, when I start to trust my own self, when I start to communicate with myself, and I start to have a healthy relationship with me, then I begin to reinforce and attract other people who will do the same. When I don't hold myself accountable, when I don't set boundaries with myself, when I don't trust or communicate well with myself, I attract people who also have that same energy. And I not only attract them, but I choose them because that's where I feel comfortable. That's what feels normal because that's how I treat myself. I don't hold myself accountable. I don't set boundaries with myself. I don't trust myself. I don't communicate well with myself. So when I'm in a relationship with someone else who does the same, this feels normal. This feels okay. And I'm more so focused on how to change them versus changing myself and realizing that there's something in me that needs reassurance. There's something in me that needs a little bit soothing. There's something in me that needs care. And I'm responsible for that, not the other person. So I hope this helps. There's a lot there, but I want you to just chew on that, allow it to marinate, and apply it where it may. Okay? This is a really deep question. So if you have follow up questions, feel free to let me know. I want to begin to continue to chew on this because this is the core of the work that we do, how to have a healthy relationship with ourselves and with others. So always remember that you are loved, that you are enough, and stay inspired. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and leave all the questions that you have. And be on the lookout for episode 3 next Thursday of my Community Circle Q&A.